Transformers has always been goofy. From Generation 1 to the Bayverse films, and the more serious tone of the Cybertron games, there's always room to have some laughs, even when not intended.
My name is Optimus Primal. We're from your future.
Beast Wars, and especially Beast Machines, seem like much darker shows now looking back on them. But for the most part, the jovial nature of this family-friendly franchise has been a mainstay. Nowhere is that more evident than in the Unicron trilogy. Technically a single continuity, this trilogy reimagines the Transformers franchise with some great new ideas and really wacky premises. But today I want to cover 2 episodes from the more serious show of the 3 in the Unicron trilogy. That is Transformers Armada. Armada holds a funny place in my heart, as I didn't grow up watching it like many on this platform. I grew up with Beast Wars and, strangely enough, Cybertron, the final show of the Unicron trilogy. So while I see a lot of fans discussing how integral Armada was to their love of Transformers, I can't fully relate, but what I can relate to is the impact of the show's storytelling. As both an intro and an origin to this video, I was recently talking to Dumb Jake after recording his Delta Base episode, and he mentioned a specific Armada episode that seemed rather dark. Again, the franchise is no stranger to permanently scarring children, but I think Armada's moments of violence and reality checks on its characters hold more weight than your average out-of-nowhere horror scene that we've all become accustomed to. The moment in question that Jake remembered all these years after Armada was the moment when Megatron executed Smokescreen. In episode 33 of Armada, titled Sacrifice, Megatron infiltrates the Autobots' headquarters in an attempt to kidnap the minicons that form the Requiem Blaster, a powerful weapon with unchecked potential. It's interesting that right before this, we get some insightful information that the minicons themselves don't want to be used as weapons, bringing somewhat of a moral dilemma into the fold. During this argument between the kids and Red Alert, we see Smokescreen is trying his hardest to connect with the minicons, despite not speaking their language. When Megatron arrives, however, Smokescreen jumps into action by hiding the minicons from being used as a weapon. You see, Smokescreen could use them to form the Requiem Blaster and protect the Autobots' headquarters, but he chooses not to, as he too is trying to respect the wishes of the minicons themselves. They are more than just tools and weapons. They are sentient beings, who, we know, deserve freedom. Sadly, Megatron doesn't see it that way, as per usual. Claiming the minicons as his own and forming the Requiem Blaster, only Smokescreen stands in Megatron's way now. Yet another insolent fool who's too brave for his own good. At least, that's how Megatron sees it. These very beings that Smokescreen once protected with his life end up taking it. In a shockingly gruesome scene where the energy bolt bursting forth from the Requiem Blaster tears through not only Smokescreen, but the very wall surrounding him too, everyone is in shock as to what has happened. I may be remembering incorrectly here, but I'm pretty sure this is the first on-screen death in Transformers Armada. If I'm wrong, please let me know down in the comments below. And I think that's why this scene holds so much weight. But what brings even more weight to this scene is the fact that Megatron guns Smokescreen down without a second thought. Even after being shot through the chest, Smokescreen continues to fight against Megatron and his band of lowlifes as he walks towards them for a second round, while falling apart. Megatron's troops are no doubt intimidated by this display of bravery and exit the scene quickly, but we, the audience, are left to endure the aftermath of this battle. Not only have the minicons been kidnapped, but they have been used to murder the one Autobot that truly started to understand their wishes. Smokescreen dies in Optimus Prime's arms, telling him with his dying breath that he tried his hardest to protect the minicons. Optimus holds his soldier close as his spark dies out. and even salutes his passing before losing his composure and crying out in anger. Again, another first time for the show to my own recollection. Now, episode 34 picks up right after these events and shows us an Optimus who is fueled by revenge. As he marches on to wage war against Megatron, we also get the beginning of Starscream's redemption arc, which is a topic for an entirely different video. In this episode, titled Regeneration, we do see the return of Smokescreen in a new body after a very complicated surgery performed by Red Alert. And so, with knowledge of these events, does that cheapen the moment from episode 33? Well, it's kind of hard to say. Smokescreen's supposed death is immediately reversed at the start of Regeneration. As the Autobots mention, he is close to dying, but will likely survive. But let's remember, these episodes did not air back to back. They were released a week apart from each other, and so let's try and keep in mind the original context. But even with that gap in time, is Smokescreen's sacrifice wasted? Honestly, and personally, I have to say no. Armada is held up as one of the greatest Transformers shows ever, and it certainly is a fantastic contender, but it's still goofy as all can be. And so, because of that, I don't fully take everything happening on screen as being super serious. It is, after all, a Saturday morning cartoon. Not that those can't be serious, of course. I think what's more impactful is the sheer violence shown when Megatron guns Smokescreen down in such an overpowered way. You would think that the Requiem blaster would be saved for taking down Optimus himself, but no, Megatron will use it on anyone. And yet still, after the blast, Smokescreen has the willpower to stand up for what's right. And if that's not being a hero, then I don't know what is. The voice actor for Smokescreen, Dale Wilson, sadly passed away on January 6th, 2025. He voiced many cartoon characters through the early to mid-2000s, as well as announcing the 2010s Olympics, which I know must have been a great honor. Dale, you have a great legacy to your name, and you will be missed. And I will always remember your voice as you stood up to Megatron, even in the face of extinction. And that's why shows like Armada mean so much to the community. If it weren't for such talented voice actors like Dale, I think a lot of the heart and emotion to these shows would go unnoticed. We've been shown that the immense emotions can be conveyed simply through the pages of a comic, of course, but nothing quite beats the age-old Transformers cartoon with an incredible voice talent. And so whether it's Armada, Beast Wars, or even some of the more recent voice-acted projects, I believe there is always a character worth rooting for who chooses to stand up against villainy, even when the odds are completely against him. Hey everybody, Post-Video Delta here, as always. Armada. I know, so many people have been asking, please do videos on Armada. Again, I have to personally thank Dumb Jake. He and I had a long conversation. We were talking about the growth of my channel and the direction I want to take it. I will always love and cover the Skybound comics, but I've always felt that I could kind of take the channel in a broader position to talk about more than just the Skybound comics. And when I thought about Transformers Armada or other shows, I thought, man, that's a pretty big project to cover an entire show in one video. And he encouraged me again. He told me, hey, I remember this scene from Armada where Smokescreen is just gunned down. I think that would be a great video. And I just stayed up all night thinking about that, and I ended up writing and recording this video throughout the night. I'm very tired, if you can't tell. But no, yeah, this was such an impactful moment. I even remember it, watching it, even though I didn't watch the show as a child. I did go back and watch it later. And I do vividly recall Smokescreen's death. Again, he does come back, and like I said in the video, I don't think it really cheapens his sacrifice. I think there's still meaning to it. You have to consider the context that it exists inside of. But I really, really remember that being such an insightful moment. It's funny that the Unicron trilogy is kind of Transformers' more goofy side of storytelling, and yet there's some really powerful moments. I need to go back through and watch the rest of Armada. I talked about Starscream's redemption arc. There's been so many great videos on this platform about it, but I probably will cover it at some point here. But I specifically recall there being a couple moments in Cybertron that as a kid really made me feel something. It made me go, this is a cartoon. And this is making me feel something, you know, really emotional here. Energon, I don't know as well. I've watched it through once. I think I fell asleep during it, but it's definitely something that I'll have to watch. Maybe I'll make a video on Ironhide. He's definitely, oh man, he's definitely one of the iterations of Ironhide that does exist. Anyways, thank you guys so much, as always, for the continued support on the channel. We have channel memberships now. As I said in my membership update video where I introduced them, it's not required. It just gets you some things like some badges and some videos early. Every now and then there's a video that I make that just doesn't make the cut. Those will be uploaded as well. And there is a channel membership Discord coming. I promise. I just need to cross a few more wires and press a few more buttons, and then it'll be ready to go. I'm very excited to that. Very excited to share a space where we can all talk about videos, and you know, you guys can get some inside scoops, and we can just have a fun time. So thank you guys so much, and as always, I'll see you on the next video.